You ever know that one person growing up, whether they're a family member or just someone you went to school with, who constantly caused trouble for the heck of it and always managed to get away with this mischief by blaming it on you or the others around you? Those were the worst types of kids to be around growing up. I had a cousin who used to do that. Couldn't stand it. Could not stand it. So when Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends decided to make an entire episode around a new character that followed this exact trope, I was not very pleased by the time I finished watching it, let me tell you. This is without a doubt the worst episode of Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. Before we get into this video, I want to remind you all to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so yet. 96% of the people who have watched my videos in the past month weren't subscribed. So if you do, you'll be able to find my videos a whole lot easier than before, and it helps me out a lot. Thanks. The episode in question is Everyone Knows It's Bendy, where a new imaginary friend named Bendy is brought to Foster's. The parents of Bendy's creator, Gregory, get rid of him because of all the trouble he caused around the house. Frankie and Mr. Harriman suggest maybe it was the kid doing all these bad things and putting the blame on Bendy since Bendy was never caught in the act doing these bad things. This is apparently common for kids to do throughout the world, blaming their imaginary friends for their mishaps. I'm looking at the kid's body language as well as Bendy's, thinking, okay, maybe Frankie and Harriman are right. The kid is twisting his foot back and forth, acting all guilty, while Bendy gives off a more innocent vibe. Even though Bendy makes me mauled, I do like his design a lot. The way his stripes look kind of reminds me of a Dr. Seuss character. I know some of y'all see it too. I can't be the only one. Bendy insists to them he never did any of those things while nearly bursting into tears. Of course, all that is complete bullshit because in the next scene, he sees Blue and the gang playing video games and proceeds to knock over a flower pot for no reason, smiling the entire time even when running out the door. Cannot stand his smile, by the way. Hate it. Mr. Harriman walks in, noticing the broken vase, demanding an explanation. After they describe Bendy, he's called in, then starts crying again, insisting it wasn't him. Harriman and Frankie taking his side here was so stupid. It's literally 4 against 1 saying he did it. Look, I get those two have the mindset that he's the new guy, so why would someone who's literally been there for 2 seconds start causing trouble, you know? Who does that? Plus, he was quote-unquote falsely accused by his creator's parents, so he's grown through a lot. But there's 4 people vouching against him. 4. I know Blue's not the most trustworthy person in the bunch, but you're gonna say Wilt, Ed, and Coco are lying? Like, what do they gain from that? What do they gain? Bendy likes causing trouble, so he benefits from the blame deflection / lying. I guess all it takes are some fake tears. For the next couple minutes, we just get a montage of Bendy breaking more rules while it's putting the blame on the main gang individually, leaving chip crumbs on the floor, blaming Ed, dragging Wilt's muddy shoes through the house onto the walls, and more. Blue eventually gets fed up with Bendy and decides to set up a rule to break so they can catch him in the act. But of course, this plan backfires. Bendy flees from the scene instantly while Coco accidentally takes multiple shots of Blue holding the bat because her tongue slipped. Not sure why they made Coco in charge of the camera since she doesn't have hands. You know, Wilt would have been the most optimal since he's the only one with, you know, fingers. Harriman and Frankie arrive on the scene, seeing the pictures of Blue, once again sending him to the corner of his room. This time, Blue overhears Bendy using the intercom doing impressions of Harriman and Frankie while also making fun of them. I don't understand why he's such a hateful friend with basically no explanation. You want to flame the only 2 people who give you the benefit of the doubt for all your crap? Breaking rules is one thing, but verbally abusing them to the whole house? Come on, man. And for the 90th time, Blue gets framed because he snatches the megaphone from Bendy's hands, so when the head honchos pull up, it looks like he's the culprit, just like with the marker. They were trying their damnedest to make Frankie and Harriman look like complete gullible dunderheads this episode. This time, Blue literally used the megaphone asking them to come to where he is so they can catch the real culprit. If Blue was the real culprit, why would he say that? Do those two have selective hearing or what? Blue's not the most intelligent friend in the world, but he's not that dumb. Apparently Frankie and Harriman are, though. This was the last straw for them because they took away Blue's TV, video game, and paddleball privileges until further notice. To add insult to injury, Bendy proceeded to tell Blue he used Blue's toothbrush to scrub the toilets, not his own like he claimed. Blue has had it too, so he devises a scheme that's guaranteed to get Bendy caught. In the next scene, while walking through the kitchen, Bendy takes a cookie from a jar with a do not touch note on it. The moment he eats the cookie, a camera automatically takes a picture of him doing so. Bendy, attempting to get rid of the evidence, proceeds to make a gigantic mess. The pen he opens explodes, the bathroom sink handle breaks when he turns it, and the inner pipes burst, causing the entire house to flood. Bendy comes out from behind the door, shivering, looking defeated, to which Blue arrives on the scene, exposing him to Mr. Harriman and Frankie. However, while going on his rant, he openly confesses to rigging everything in the house, like the pen, sink handle, and the pipes. So what do Harriman and Frankie do? They scold Blue instead of Bendy for flooding the house. I agree what Blue did was extreme. He didn't necessarily need to rig those specific things to get Bendy caught. I'm sure there was a better way to go about it. Even still, no apology to Blue or the others from Harriman and Frankie, and no proper consequence for Bendy. I don't consider him getting a little wet a real consequence. That's what annoyed me about this episode so much. Bendy never got a proper punishment for everything he did by the end of the episode, and the main gang never got anything good in return either. You know, there's been other shows I've watched where a character can act like a total degenerate all episode, but if that character gets properly punished for their actions by the end, then I'll have felt satisfied once I finish watching. This episode of Foster's failed to do that. I didn't even realize until making this video, but apparently Lauren Faust, a writer on the show, as well as the wife of show's creator Craig McCracken, apologized to a Twitter user about how bad of a character Bendy was. That's likely why the character never appeared in another episode after that, because he was just hated that much. And I don't want to hate the character, this episode just painted him in a way where it's impossible for me not to. You know, since he never appeared in an episode again, he never got any redemption, so I couldn't change my feelings about him. He's still just crap. But the bright side is, the rest of Foster's makes up for this very slight blemish of an episode. It's one of my favorite Cartoon Network shows of all time. I think I can say with confidence, this was the only true bad episode for me. Every other episode was either incredibly good or good. And I still think Destination Imagination is one of the best animated finales ever made. I rewatch that movie like once a year. It's so good. So Bendy being a little bitch wasn't nearly enough to ruin the entire series for me. Let me know in the comments down below your thoughts about this episode. Do you think it was the weakest episode of Foster's 2? If not, what episode do you think is worse? If you actually liked this episode, I'd be curious to hear your reasoning for that as well. Of course, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like down below, and another reminder to subscribe if you still haven't yet. But for now, I will see you guys next time. Peace out, take care, bye-bye.